It's another episode of Inside Rangers Football. As always, I'm Brian Freeman with Smithson Valley head coach Larry Hill. Some numbers for you. One number is 5. The Rangers are 5-0 in district, only unbeaten team left. Another number, 6. The Rangers have won 6 straight games. And 7, Smithson Valley now 7-1. This is all courtesy of a 49-0 win over Bernie Champion from this past Friday. And Coach, I know it kind of feels like a broken record over the past few weeks. Pretty dominant for you, both sides of the football, all 3 phases. What did you take away from this game on Friday?
Well, I thought, like we've been able to do the last few, as you mentioned, coming out hot and starting well and putting them on their heels and maybe getting them away from the game plan that perhaps they came in the stadium wanting to do. You can't always do that. If you play enough times, a lot of times you're going to start slow or it's their turn to start fast. But, we were able to go down and score a number of times early on. And, it got to the point where maybe they can't really run the ball and be as balanced as they want to. And then, then our front four could tee off a little bit and get after their quarterback. So continued to make some throws up the field, which helped our running game. Our running game was helped because, they were helping make the throws up the field. I don't know which, but just a good night at home. We honored our National Merit finalists, people that are getting it done academically. We honored them prior to the game and, got to get a lot of players in the game in the second half. And so just a good night all the way around.
We talked about your defense last week and the level of confidence they're playing with. So you look, and this is the 4th game in a row you've held a team out of the end zone, 3rd shutout in the last 4 games. Getting beyond the confidence, take us through the level of preparation it takes to play at this high of a level? Well,
it does take that, and I think people overlook that or just not aware of that. Geez, they played well, but it's a lot of time in the film room. It's a lot of time in individual meetings with your position coach or your coordinator, and recognizing formations, backfield alignments, making adjustments at the line of scrimmage that weren't necessarily called from the sideline. Recognizing something and making a last-minute change. And our guys have done a great job with that. I think it's helped put us in the best position each snap. We're not guessing maybe as much. Still have to go execute. You still have to get off a block. You still have to make a tackle or make a play on the ball. But they spend far more time off the field studying than they do actually on the field doing it. But it's nice when you get the on-the-field results.
One of the more unique things about the game, again, you scored 49 points in the end zone 7 times. 7 different players were the ones that found the end zone. What does it say about your team to get so many different players, significant touches throughout the game?
Well, that's what we hope to do. I guess you probably hope to do that every year so that there's not one facet of your game or one individual on your team that they're focused on exclusively. Doesn't always work out that way. Obviously, sometimes you keep feeding and feeding and feeding, and that we get one guy with 3 touchdown catches or runs for 4 touchdowns. But it was a little bit of a unique night the other night in that sense, and that's great to see. Sharing the ball and everybody getting a little share of the limelight.
Your quarterback Chase Sedlick threw for better than 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think 16 of 18 were the numbers, only 2 incompletions. His completion rate throughout the year, specifically in district play, has been through the roof. What is his grasp of this offense like, and how much preparation does he put into what he does?
Well, he, just like we're talking about with our defense, our offensive players, including our quarterbacks, spend a lot of time in the film room, spend a lot of time in individual meetings, and then, of course, practice sessions. So Chase is like all of them. He's put in a lot of time, and he's thrown the ball very accurately. Now, his completion percentages is enhanced, no doubt, by our little touch passes forward with receivers coming forward, the me to you pass. But then we got a lot of them that aren't that either. He's throwing the ball well, and he's got confidence with his receivers, as does Ryland, their other quarterback. I think right now there's a two-way street there. Those guys are on the same page, and it's making us better because clearly they can't just key on their running game.
Something we talked about last week, you brought it up briefly moments ago, was that this was another game in which you're able to work in some of your backup, second and third string players into the second half, something that's been a trend over the past, again, 4 games as you've won decidedly. And one of the other aspects of that is it also saves some wear and tear on your starters. As you look for a potential long postseason run and playing well into November, How significant is that they can save some of that on their bodies in games like this?
Well, that's not necessarily a goal of ours, although that has been a byproduct of the last 4 or 5 games, as you mentioned. It just depends on how you look at it. That's one way to say it. And then, somebody on the flip side of that would say, well, they hadn't had to go 15 rounds in a while. What if it gets in the 3rd and 4th quarter of a real tight game and they hadn't been in that situation? So we're probably guilty of, we're all guilty maybe of overanalysis. We just play and however it ends up, it ends up. There are going to be some tight ball games. We know that, probably starting with this week.
Well, again, Smithson Valley coming off a 49-0 win over Bernie Champion. The Rangers' 6th straight win. Plenty of big plays. We're going to narrow it down to 3 in this week's Plays of the Week as Coach Hill takes us through them.
Yeah, let's go take a look. Our first play of the week is a defensive play, and it's not an eye popper in the sense that we picked a pass off and ran it 80 yards, or got a big interception, or got a sack, but it's an outstanding play, and it's by one of our junior cornerbacks, Zach Gingrich. Zach's got a circle around him at the top of the screen. This is one of Bernie Champion's signature plays, just what you call a bubble screen. And they're going to try to block ahead of the play and block Zach and then run by him after the catch is made. As you see the play unfolds, they're throwing it to the man in the circle, and they got 2 blockers ahead for our 2 defenders. Zach at the very top, if you watch now, absolutely destroys the block, blows up the tackle, and makes the tackle himself. He takes who's blocking who here? He's knocking him back into the ball carrier who's caught the pass. He's got them both there, and then he reaches out with one hand and throws him down. So you don't see that very often, and that's a cornerback doing that. Very physical play, very well done by Zach Gingrich, junior cornerback. There it is from the side. You can see 21's immediately on his heels. He's the one supposed to be blocking Zach. Now he's back in. He's got them both. Right hand, he's got the blocker. Left hand, he's got the ball carrier. Then he slings him down, gets a little help there from McLean Garrett. That's an outstanding play. Probably flies under the radar as far as people in the stands watching. Our next big play is a touchdown catch. We're going to feature senior wide receiver Kyler Clark. And, of course, the throw is going to come from Chase Sinley. But Kyler, not a real big guy, but that ball's high, and he's going to elevate and make a big catch. There's a play-action fake. You can see Chase is faking the run. And we have 2 receivers on in-breaking routes, and Chase correctly has read the coverage. The outside man is the one to go to. You can see Kyler really elevating. It's a little blurry there, but that ball is well above him, and he had a 33-inch vertical leap, and he needed every bit of it there. Makes the catch, and he's about 2 yards away and just gets in the end zone before he kind of runs into their guy. A bug hitting the windshield knocks him out of the end zone, but for a touchdown, you can see everybody's pretty excited about that. That was a heck of a catch and a good throw and catch by Chase and Kyler together. From behind the offense, you get a chance to see what it looks like. There's the run fake that draws in the defense. And then there's the inside route and there's the outside route. You get a little bit of a glimpse there of how high he had to go to get that catch. And then he lands on the 2, takes the hit, and big touchdown play. Really excited for Kyler to get that early in the ball game. And then our last play, we're going to feature a freshman, a 14-year-old freshman, Quentin Sampson, just up in the varsity now 2 weeks. He's at the very top of the screen, as noted there, and he's going to run a reverse. So we're going to fake downhill to our running back. There's the fake, drawing in the defense, and then a little pitch out. And Quentin's coming around the corner here. He's going to get a great block from Tyler Stone right there. Tyler really kind of breaks the jaw of their cornerback. And then we get another block right here from our center. I think that's Reese Anderson. And then Quentin takes it up inside, makes another cut, gets the ball all the way past the 50-yard line. From behind the offense, you can see another view. We're faking to number 3, Doug Lance, and we have pullers going right to left, and that draws the defense to the left, and then we pitch it. He's got that ball. We get a nice peel back block there by T.J. Hunt, our receiver. And then there's Tyler's block right there, and then here comes Reese Anderson's block on the right and Corey Coleman on the left. You can see the nice alley for Quentin to get up into, and he's able to hit that crease. And then he's not through. It looks like he's down, but he makes a cut back, gets a few yards after the initial contact. And those are our plays of the week.
So again, Zach Gingrich, Kyler Clark, and Quentin Sampson, the freshman we talked about last week, featured in this week's Plays of the Week. Tell us a little bit more about these players, Coach, and the impact that they've had on your program this season.
Well, Zach, of course, you saw our cornerback kind of blow up that hitch screen, took out the blocker, the ball carrier, and made the tackle. Of course, he's one of our fine two-sport athletes. He's an elite baseball player, probably has a great future there, but may have a great future in football too. And, in this day and age where, there's so many outside pressures to not two-sport or three-sport, it's refreshing to see guys like him and David DeHoyos and, TJ Hunt's a track kid. I go on and on. I think 14 of our 22 starters are two-sport players. To do that is refreshing. And Zach, of course, Jr., we got him for a couple of years. Kyler, coming off that knee a couple of years ago, is really just kind of rounding into form, and that was a great catch. And he just brings an element of speed on the outside. And then the freshman, gosh, he's 14 years old right now and making runs like that and impacting the game. So we're excited about what he's doing now and, of course, his potential for down the road.
Again, that a wrap on the Rangers' win over the Chargers from this past week, 49-0. Up next, the Hayes Hawks. That's a game we're going to preview coming up next here at Inside Rangers Football.
2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for the Rangers. Stand up and holler!
What's wrong? I really hurt my leg. That's horrible. Wait, Elle's dad sells insurance. Maybe he can help.
I wish he could, but...
My dad has his life insurance with Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance.
Yes, but...
My mom has her homeowner's policy with Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance also.
I know my uncle says he only trusts Jeremy Fuller State Farm with his auto insurance needs.
Guys, wait! We do so many great coverages, but just not cheerleader legs.
Hey, that's okay. It's all better now. Let's start from the top, but with a little change.
2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance. Stand up and holler!
Yay!
Fisher's Neighborhood Market is the only stop you need before and after game time. Get everything you need, plus a whole lot of things, well, you just want. Fisher's Neighborhood Market. Food, fuel, fun.
And now we look ahead to the opponent coming up this Friday, the Hayes Hawks. Their record 5-3, 2-3 in district, but they have dropped 3 straight after a 5-0 start and winning their first 2 12-5A games. But you look closer at those games, 3-point loss against Canyon, 7-point loss against Seguin, played a very good and red-hot Wagner team this past Thursday. So there's some context there behind the recent struggles for the Hawks. Coach, as you look at this Hayes team, what immediately stands out to you?
Well, they're very unique in what they do, much like Wagner in that regard. Their offense is not the same as Wagner's. Wagner's is very option-oriented, but this is an old slot T that has now gone to the shotgun, a lot of pulling, a lot of sending backs here and there. They have multiple backs who not only can run the ball but do and hurt you from a long way out. Their ability to score from a long way out against everybody, both on the run and throw the ball extremely well. And that's one thing. And then defensively, they're equally as chaotic. I mean, they're quite a bit out of the mainstream with some of their looks, and they have good players that do it. They'll onside kick. I think we've got them on 8 onside kicks this year. Frequently go for it on 4th down, do not punt. So it's one of those kind of games. And you mentioned how competitive they are. Canyon beats them by 3. Seguin game looks like it's going into overtime, and the kid runs 80 yards on the last play of the game, and they lose. So, I mean, they're just a hair's breadth away from competing for the district championship. And they're as good as anybody in our league. And as I said, they're so out of the mainstream with what they do. It's really tough on us in the week during practice, and we'll have our hands full Friday night.
Yeah, you talked about the offense. They put up 60 or more a couple of times. They've been in the 40s several times this year.
Yeah.
And you mentioned kind of their run game a little bit, and Kyrie Payton has been the bell cow for them, although they'll get multiple players involved. Yeah. He seems to be the most dangerous of the bunch, close to 1,000 yards in the season, better than 10 yards per carry. As you look at the way they want to involve him and get others involved with this particular offense, what's the key to slowing it down?
Well, you know, we're going to have to do a nice job of recognizing sets and alignments and what do they run out of this, what don't they run, what can we rule in, what can we rule out. You know, we'll have to key guards, we'll have to key certain things as the play starts, post-snap keys. And then we're going to have to run to the ball well and tackle. We won't do well. If it's a one-on-one tackling situation with him and the others, that's not going to bode well. And then at the same time, we just can't commit 11 players to the run. They can and have been so effective at their deep throwing game off of these play-action passes. You know, it'll be a nerve-wracking type game.
We opened this show with some numbers for you regarding your program, looking at Hayes defensively. A few more numbers for you. 13, that's the amount of sacks they have through 8 games. 7, the amount of interceptions they have. And 10, the total amount of turnovers they've forced. So as you said earlier, they can create some havoc on that side of the football. What is your offense up against this Friday?
Well, you know, they try to be very chaotic in their alignments. You know, it's a little different than maybe what you've blocked the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then multiple, you know, because they were in this snap, the next snap it could be something else. And have good players doing it as well. It's very sound, or very well researched and coached. They're not junky in the sense of no one knows what they're doing. So, you know, we'll have to do some adjusting at the line of scrimmage. Our linemen will have to be sharp. They'll have to make calls at the last minute. You know, if we get throw and catch opportunities, we'll have to make the most of them. I mean, we're going to have to bring our A game Friday night to Shelton Stadium.
Well, again, something unique about the district this year with realignment, you're grouped in with teams you're not all that familiar with. You have been in a district with Hayes before, but it's been a long time, 10, 11 years the last time you played the Hawks. That said, though, I know you're very familiar with the coach that leads this program, Les Goad. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Coach Goad.
Well, I like Les, except for when we have to play him. I liked him a whole lot better when we weren't on his schedule, but he just does such a good job of with his kids. Gets them to play extremely hard, and they're very well coached, and their stuff that they do is very well thought out. You know, you're not gonna get him by coming up with some idea that he hasn't seen or is not prepared for, or have his team prepared for. So, good man, good leader. It really needs to move on. It really needs to leave Hayes, or at least get off of our schedule. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen before Friday, so we hold him and his staff and the program in high regard, but we hope they lose this week.
All right, well, Coach, best of luck against Hayes this Friday.
Okay, thank you, Brant.
The Rangers and the Hawks from Bob Sheldon Stadium at Hayes is 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have the game for you right here on the Rangers Network. For head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brain Freeman. This has been Inside Rangers Football. We'll see you next time.